Hey everybody, it's EJ here from iDesign.com. We are on the show floor at NAB 2017, and for those of you on the YouTube channel, this is the Octane man himself, David Ariew. The Octane man himself.
I'm one of many Octane men.
But
like
you
the
are,
Brograph guys are also Octane.
You're Octane man, but
Octane guys, yeah.
You're the guy at least people know that are getting into it on the iDesign YouTube channel. So let's just talk a little bit about how long have you been using Octane and why do you love it so dang much? You're obsessed.
Why do I love it so dang? I've been using Octane since 2013 when I did like a Dave Matthews Band music video. A lot of it was actually Element 3D for like the backgrounds, because at the time I didn't know how to use Octane that well, and like I used Octane for like the hero building, and I first got into it and it didn't look that great, but I've been using it for several years and getting into it slowly, and it's probably, out of all the things that I know, I feel like I know Octane the best, because I'm just obsessed with it, dude.
So you recently finished up that space-based music video that you broke down in one of the previous tutorials. So why don't you talk about that, and like what was, did you have any like realizations of like, wow, this is really cool, you figured out something while you were working on that?
Yeah, so I think the things I got better at the most were like lighting, just like backlighting everything, and that was the most fun part of the process for me, was really like being able to art direct in real time the light. And so that, and then the other thing I think I got better at was using things like Octane's Displacement for sure to get like those moon textures, and then also Octane's Scatter really allowed me to create those cool asteroid belts. And it just allows you to create so many instances, like tens of, millions and millions of instances, literally, to create like that complexity. And then also Octane volumetrics, like bringing in that fog volume, that was a whole section of the video that was cool. And just creating kind of new, better looking imagery for cheaper and faster with Octane. Yeah.
So that scatter, that I didn't even know that existed until you did that breakdown at the Dallas Fort Worth.
Totally.
That the Brograph guys put together.
Yeah.
If we need to do that next year, anyone who hasn't gone, it's a really fun.
DFWC4D.
DFWC4D. That's the website. DFWC4D.com, so check that out. If you're in the Dallas area or Texas, it's a big state. There's a lot of you there. Go check that out. The scatter, that's like the cloner almost, but on steroids.
It's the
right?
cloner on crack, totally. Yeah.
So like, tell about the differences between the cloner and like what are the strengths of scatter?
So it doesn't function exactly the same as the cloner. Like it doesn't exist in its own like grid array or whatever. It's more like the clone on object mode. So if you've got geo like a torus, you can easily clone onto that, and then you can add effectors like C4D's default effectors to that. So you can then like put a random effector in there, spread it out, do all that kind of good stuff. And then but there are some modes that are interesting that are not like the cloner, where you can actually add in C4D noise to control the scale of the clones and stuff like that. Maybe that probably exists for C4D as well, but it's like a really intuitive way to control the clones or in scatter. So like for instance, people will go in and create like, you'll see people, he'll go in and create like a city, and then he'll pipe a noise in there to create like variation in the buildings, but not in like this randomized way, in a way where you get like clumps and clusters that look more organic, where like you've got these really tall buildings and then suddenly these really small buildings. So that variation in scale really makes scenes look more interesting. So there are some modes in that scatter that are perhaps better than the C4D cloner, but on the whole, it's just the speed and number of instances that you can pipe in there that'll get you that massive complexity.
I gotcha. All right, so you've been pumping out some tutorials for the site, and people are really digging them, getting a lot of good feedback.
It's motivating to create more, and it's really gratifying seeing all the feedback, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there starting to learn Octane, and not a lot of content out there. A lot of people
It's weird. Like this whole time, I've like wanted to learn more and more about Octane, and the way I've been doing it is just by like literally like scouring the internet. Like it's really like hacked, and you have to like cobble together like, oh, this one dude on this one Vimeo channel. Now scroll down the page and find that one link. Oh, there it is. Like it's hard to find good resources on Octane. There are some dudes out there that are making really quality content, but it still feels like the Wild West as far as Octane goes. But that's also exciting. It's kind of like this mysterious thing to some extent still, even though it's been out for a good 4 or 5 years now. People are just starting to learn about it, and it's always getting more and more powerful. And it just like empowers a solo artist to, have their own render farm, basically, have their own like really high quality setup,
So there's the one thing that I think the very first YouTube video you put out for the iDesign YouTube channel, you talked about the Octane VR.
Octane VR, which is a crap name. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
The most overwhelming comment from that was like, holy crap, I didn't know that they had like a subscription that was like super cheap, right? So
yeah, it totally saves money. And actually, in retrospect, so I've got like 3 full Octane licenses and 3 full C4D licenses. And in retrospect, I don't need all of that. I could have a subscription that's only $20 a month for my secondary computer. Like I use Octane on my laptop, and for my laptop setup, I've only got 1 GPU in there. It makes more sense to have the subscription. They should just call it Octane Subscription. It makes no freaking sense. But so it's that's another funny thing is like that really helped so many people save money, basically. Yeah.
So you've been pumping out tutorials for the site. People are digging them. You got something in mind for the next one? You're talking a little bit about displacements?
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 2-parter. The first part will have like designing an Illustrator, like a kind of greeble texture like Beeple would do. So like just, creating a techie looking texture and then taking that into Octane and using it to displace some geo. So in my dead mouse thing that I did, I created this tunnel and threw on all of these Tekkit displacement textures from the French monkey, which is he creates these really cool looking displacement textures. He creates them all in Illustrator. So I'm going to show how you create that yourself. So you don't necessarily have to go out and buy that, but that is a really good resource. So I would just like use one of those textures by either Beeple or the French monkey, and then you can animate the amount of displacement to get like a tunnel to like close in and do some interesting stuff. I also did a thing where I just dissolved between different displacement textures, and just that simple dissolve can create an animated displacement map. So you can get like these extrusions and this weird looking like animating city just by doing stuff. So I want to do more with like animating displacement textures, with creating your own displacement textures and using them in interesting ways. Yeah.
You could make a simple cube look like the most complex
like terrible geometry. I don't know how to model worth crap. So I like had like a hexagon tunnel that didn't look good at all, and then I just like throw in, a displacement texture and it looks like, oh, it's so complex and cool looking. Like it's just cheating. I love cheating is basically what it boils down to.
Just displacement, bro.
It's just displacement, bro. Yeah.
All right, well, everyone out there, stay tuned to the YouTube channel because David's going to be kind enough to keep sharing the Octane knowledge. And we've got the Brograph guys here as well. They're super into Octane, so
yeah, we're all Octane nerds.
Yeah, all the Octane nerds. I just used Octane for the first time today. Yes.
Congratulations.
Let one of my sketch and tune guys and put some nice shiny plastic textures on it. Good. Awesome. Well, we're really excited to have you on the channel. Really excited for your tutorials. You've been killing it. Everyone's loving it. Cool. And if you guys got any suggestions for tutorials, Octane tutorials for Dave, I'm sure he'd love to hear the suggestions. But thanks so much for coming out, man. We'll see you in the next video here. All right, bye everybody.
Bye everybody.